Hi, my name is Jessica, and the movie that I chose to watch for this assignment was The Big Short. The Big Short is basically a movie about a group of businessmen who predict the 2007-2008 collapse in the American economy that was triggered by the bursting of the housing bubble market. And so the thing that stood out most to me in the movie was a quote from Brad Pitt, who was playing an ex-banker named Ben Rickert. In the scene, his companions Charlie Geller and Jamie Shipley are celebrating their deals buying AAA bonds in Vegas. And so both they and Ben Rickert are exiting the casino, and Charlie and Jamie start dancing. Ben Rickert then turns to them and says, "Stop that. Do you have any idea what you just did? You just bet against the American economy." And I can't say what Jamie and Charlie said, but they basically assert that, yes, this is what they did. And so Ben then interrupts them and says, which means if we're right, people lose homes, people lose jobs, people lose retirement savings, people lose pensions. Do you know what I hate about banking? It reduces people to numbers. And this quote left an impression on me because it's something that I recognized in the fraud at WorldCom and Cynthia Cooper's book. And in both The Big Short and Cooper's book, it seemed to me that what happens in these big frauds is that businessmen and women get so entrapped in the numbers, the money, and their greed that they forget that their actions will have significant consequences on all the stakeholders involved. And so these stakeholders range from investors and employees to the general public. And like Ben Rickert says, it reduces people to numbers. So what ends up happening in the movie is the main characters who are betting on the housing bubble bursting eventually see the big picture about what will happen to everyone involved. And once they start to realize how big the repercussions will be, they start to become upset and want the fraud revealed. So, for instance, Steve Carell, who plays Mark Baum in the movie, is shown in the end just sick and upset with the outcome of the housing bubble burst. And he doesn't even want to take the money that he earned because, well, I guess he didn't earn, but the money that he bet, because he just thinks that that'll reduce him to the level of the fraudsters. And Christian Bale, who plays Michael Burry, in the end is also have said to have wanted the FBI to interview him to find out how he knew about the housing market bubble. And Charlie and Jamie, in another scene, are filmed sneaking back into Lehman Brothers to see the aftermath of everyone losing their jobs. And as Charlie and Jamie stand in the middle of the empty office, Charlie says, "This isn't how I pictured it." And when Charlie says this, I think he's coming to the realization of the consequences of this bet and the fraud as a whole. And it's a bittersweet moment for him because he's now rich but at a terrible cost. And I think this is reflective of how all the main characters feel about the money they won in their bet. And so I think it's an important thing for accounting students and professionals to learn that people aren't just numbers. People are people. They have houses and families and are trying to support themselves, and these are the innocent people who the fraudsters don't realize they're affecting. So what we can learn from this is how to be conscious of the effects of our actions and our choices. Our actions do have consequences on more people than those who are immediately involved. And our actions have consequences on people all over. We just need to remember that there may be more at risk than what we see at the surface. And this is the main point I took from the movie The Big Short. Thanks.